How to raise HCl, the stomach acid. I got so many bad advice in my life. A lot of it's just silly. So I'm here to show you something today. Okay? It's a very basic experiment. Citric acid, soda. Let's do it quickly. Now, if you've done this before, or you were a kid and you were making cheap lemonade, then you know what's going to happen next, right? Take some baking soda and we put it in this acidic water. Can you hear it? Sizzle! Why is this happening? This is our stomach. This is our liver. Huh? Now, think about it. If the stomach is not producing acid, the liver has nothing to alkalize. Or if the stomach is producing enough acid, but the liver is not able to alkalize, what happens then? If one of the systems is performing poorly, the other one has to compensate. Now, the big question is, if the liver is not working properly, is it going to send a signal to the stomach to make less acid? Or if the stomach is not making enough acid, will it send a signal to the liver to release less bile? That's the big question, isn't it? So now mostly the advice we get is what? To take some HCl, right, extra stomach acid, and that will fix the problem. Fix. Or you have like advice like, oh, you don't have enough minerals in your diet, or you know, it's all this lifestyle and toxins, you know. I have an alcoholic neighbor who eats crap, drinks crap, talks crap, and his stomach is like a cremation furnace. He doesn't have a problem with HCl. He doesn't, I mean, he's probably malnutritioned, if anything, out of anybody that I know. And still, no problem. They're saying you gotta take more minerals, or you gotta take more zinc, or perhaps some fancy expensive supplements. But you know what I think? I think most of these people that offer this advice have never had a real stomach acid issues. I have, and I had to dive deep, and I want to show you real quick of who is really the boss and how to actually fix low stomach acid. So today I'd like to argue one important point that I think most practitioners get it wrong. It's the liver that controls the stomach acid, not the other way around. It's the liver is the boss that tells to produce less stomach acid, and I'll tell you in a second why. When a liver is stagnant, it's not able to produce enough bile for either liver cirrhosis or fatty liver disease, whatever. There's so many different reasons. Liver is very, very susceptible to toxins. It can have stones, it can have sand, it can have, there could be parasites like liver flukes. So imagine the liver is not able to pump out enough bile. What happens? If you get acidified food from the stomach flowing down the system into the duodenum, small intestine, but there is not enough bile to alkalize it, what happens? An acidic food contents will flow down to your intestine, and it will cause diarrhea, right? Or intestines cannot hold a certain acidic food that's above its normal pH, and it will release the bile. Now, if this happens, what will normally happen? I mean, your intestines will be like, hey, we need less acid over here, right? We're suffering, we're not able to absorb anything. So the liver and your whole body will send a signal to the what? To the stomach, say, look, we need less acid, produce less acid. And the stomach is going to say, okay, oh, I'm sorry, I mean, I'm doing my job, and then it will produce less acid. And what happens then? If the stomach contents are not acidic enough, then it creates a host of problems. Think about it. Your food is not acidic enough. There wasn't enough sizzle. There wasn't enough sizzle to break down the food. Then it flows down, and what happens? It creates a perfect environment for all sorts of dysbiosis, SIBO, candidas, parasites. They're like, I love this, like, whoa, I don't know, like unprocessed food, yum, 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 yum. You know, I love this stuff, right? And I'll show you in some basic research. You can go online and see what causes SIBO. And then what you see is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Two in one sentence. Let's see what it says. It says, many studies have reported an altered composition or amount of intestinal bacterial dysbiosis in patients with chronic liver diseases or liver cirrhosis and progressively marked dysbiosis, right? With a worsening of the liver disease. They're saying the worse the liver functions, the more dysbiosis there is. Mechanism behind the role of SIBO and fatty liver disease. Again, it says, when normal liver physiology is impaired, gut-derived factors may lead to increased tissue damage and inflammation. So basically it's saying SIBO is defining condition of large amount of intestinal overgrowth, right? Then we have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth in cirrhosis. Again, severity of liver disease, exactly the same thing. They're making a conclusion. Small intestinal bacterial overgrowth was prevalent in about half of cirrhotics, meaning it's frequent increased with increase in severe, again, the same thing, right? You're saying that half people with liver disease have SIBO. Okay, this is Chinese medicine. It's been around for thousands of years. It knows something about who's the boss and how the systems act, what's the balance, yin and yang within their system. They're awesome about it. Articles called the TCM pattern differentiation in IBS and SIBO, part 1. Very basic thing. It just says, if the spleen, stomach, qi are weak, basically your stomach acid is low, if your stomach is not producing enough. And if the liver coursing mechanism is stagnant, saying if the liver is stagnant also, an environment is created which is highly conducive to SIBO, right? It doesn't say only low stomach acid, it says both has to come together. And this is exactly what I just said. If there's not enough sizzle like this to be produced, it's not going to digest the food properly, and it's going to feed pathogenic bacteria downstream. And this is what happened to me, and I should have caught it a long time ago. H. pylori infection. It says low stomach acid can allow for H. pylori to take over. How is that possible? Think about it. It actually, like most of us have H. pylori, right? It's under control. It's not an issue. But it traveled up into the stomach. Why? There's not enough acidity or not enough bile flow that produce this kind of detergent effect to scrub the pathogenic bacteria traveling up. And again, the most important part that I learned from Chinese medicine, you can't just address SIBO. You can't just address the liver. It has to be done. It has to be done concurrently, both. You have to address your stomach acid. You have to address your liver, and then the rest of the digestion kind of fixes itself, right? And that's the most important part. Stagnation in the liver first. If you remove stagnation, your bile starts flowing properly. Your whole intestines will be sending the signal up to your stomach to produce more stomach acid. It's going to happen automatically without you doing anything to increase the acid. And that's the beauty about it. And this is why I love Chinese medicine. And this is why I'm starting to really dislike functional medicine, because they're trying to fix these things. Oh, let's throw this and let's throw that. Fix the function, but are missing the whole picture. Bottom line, our livers are very susceptible to toxins. I've wrote a nice report about it. It's totally free. You can check it out in the comments. Basically, I researched the advice of some of the best doctors that I follow, and they're mainly focused on liver health. And it's fixed my sleep, it's fixed my digestion. It's been wonderful. And I really highly recommend you to look into your livers before you look into anything else. Okay? Bye for now.